Hi there. I am Jake Miller, and I am here to talk about why we need summative and formative evaluation and why they should be kept both as their own entities in teacher evaluation. So let's get started. First of all, thank you for hearing from me. I'm really thankful that you can hear my opinion, and I just want to share that I'm thankful that you are willing to hear from my side. So thank you. So I just want to start briefly with that importance of evaluation. So as educators in the great state of Wisconsin, we have educator effectiveness, which really promotes continuous growth in our educators. And we need evaluations to learn and grow. So thankfully, I don't think anybody's against knowing how important evaluations are because it really helps educators grow all through their career. Something really important to note is that supervisors really need to be evaluating properly. And to do that, we need summative and formative evaluations. That's how supervisors can do this evaluation process properly. So we must have summative and formative evaluations, and the two should remain separate. So I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on the differences between the two and why they should be kept separate and how they can't support each other even though they're separate. So summative evaluation really is that overarching standards that hold teachers accountable. This is not to condemn teachers. I really want to note that, not to condemn them if they are not up to standards, but it's to promote better practice, okay? These standards are high, and they're high like we have for our students, so they're up there so teachers can reach them. It's very important. And that big question there is, how has the teacher met performance expectations? That's what we're thinking about with summative evaluation. This is thinking big picture of everything the teacher is doing throughout their school day. Okay? Now, talking about formative evaluation. This is a really important piece of evaluation because it focuses in on the teacher's needs and where the teacher and their supervisor feel they need improvement. It's ongoing. It's ongoing continuous improvement, and it's an instructional focus chosen by the teacher or with assistance from their team, with assistance from their administration, and this is really a way to zero in on something you want to improve on. And this could be, thinking of the elementary school, you might want to zero in on and think about your ELA instruction. You might want to think about how you're doing your math instruction. Science and social studies as well. SEL instruction. Classroom management styles. You might want to really think about how you're doing that. And so those are all just examples of what formative evaluation can be. And looking at those is really great because it can really help you eventually get to that great meeting those summative evaluation needs and standards. Now, yeah, that's what I wanted to get into. Formative supports the summative. Okay, so this is my big thinking here, is that the formative is there because you can figure out what you really need to work on. You can plan, and supervisors can assist teachers to reach their goals. And the summative keeps those standards high for teachers to achieve, and it's overarching, and it brings it all together. So when teachers are working on those formative plans, they are essentially working on and getting to that high summative standards-based practice. I wanted to talk about the Danielson group here with these 4 domains, and I bring these up, I have to say, seeing some comedians lately, some teacher comedians, this gets a bad rap. But let's put all the joking aside for now because these domains are very important. And thinking about them from a summative evaluation side, I am thinking these are very broad. I'm thinking about what the teacher does in the day in their planning and preparation, the whole learning environment, their learning experiences that they're giving to their students, and their principled teaching. That's broad, and teachers are doing that. So we need to be thinking about that from that side. Now, to think about it in a formative way, we need to break it down more, okay? Pick it a little bit. Even what we see here, we can go even further down and find better ways for better practice. That would be that formative piece where we can really find out what we're lacking and really work on it. Okay, so that's how the formative can really support that summative. If we work on it, then eventually we'll get to that summative piece. There is a need for both. I must say this. There is a need for both. Focus on both must be done to evaluate instructional competencies. Okay? Formative offers that constructive feedback, and the feedback is so important. That is how we get to meet those standards. Feedback, talking about it, collaborating about it. Supporting summative evaluation of standards and educators' growth. That feedback supports summative evaluation. How can we create the most growth in our educators? That's what we want. We want to have the most growth in our educators. That's the most important, right? If we have growth in our educators, we have growth in our students. So we need to have both formative and summative evaluation. Focusing on instructional outcomes and not complicated evaluation systems. That's the other piece. We don't want to overcomplicate things unnecessarily. Right now, the important thing is that we have formative evaluation and summative. Okay? By combining the two, we might complicate things. Things that overlap. What assessment is this? What am I doing here? Is this formative? Is this summative? What is happening? We don't want to do that. We want to keep it clear and concise for all teachers. Teachers do not need an extra new system to think about. We don't need that. Teachers need that solid feedback, and if we complicated the evaluation system, they would maybe not get that feedback like they should. With both systems, as they are, formative and summative, separate, they can get the feedback they need formatively and summatively, okay, in those two separate lanes. So that's very important. Feedback is so important, and we need to keep it clear and concise because we do not need to add one more thing to our teachers' plates. These two models are better apart. This is kind of my wrap-up. Okay, this is my wrap-up. It's easier for teachers to have these two systems separate. The focus on feedback from formative evaluation to support summative evaluation. Formative supports the summative. Keeping them separate is very important, but they do support each other. They do support each other, but that doesn't mean there should be one item. You need summative evaluation to be overarching and standards-based. We need those high standards so we can reach for the stars. You need formative evaluation so educators can focus in on a specific area. There are things that educators are doing great. There are things that they need to work on. They need to focus in on a specific area to have that continued improvement. Okay? Thank you so much for hearing from me, and thank you for your time. I hope you heard what I had to say, and I thank you so much. That is all I have.